Start today's video, I just want to let you know I'm not trying to sell you anything. I don't want your email. I don't want to trick you into giving me your email. I don't want anything from you. I just want to tell you the truth behind OMAD and intermittent fasting.
G'day, it's Joel here. It's going to do a reaction video. This is one of the most popular intermittent fasting videos I could find on YouTube. And this fellow, Joe Duff, he's put out this content. I'm going to see, is he actually trying to sell me something? Because as soon as someone says they're not trying to sell me something, bullshit, they're trying to sell me something. Anyway, let's check out this video and let you know what I think.
Because there's a lot of misinformation and overhype out there about why these philosophies and dieting techniques actually work.
Fasting is really going to force your body to burn fat. You're going to see crazy results.
And the truth is something that I don't think a whole lot of people really talk about when it comes to OMAD or intermittent fasting, because usually the people talking about those things are trying to sell somebody something related to those things.
I've taught this to thousands of people all over the world. This stuff works amazing. I can't wait for you to try it.
They're also trying to sell you this idea that during those hours where you're not eating, you're somehow burning a ton more fat than the hours that you eat.
Pounds you're gonna.
So he's basically describing a fad diet, and the point of having a fad diet is to sell it to people, obviously. And yeah, there's going to be people out there, there's going to be sharks, there's going to be people producing a lot of misinformation. But generally, if someone looks like this and has hair like this and is just guaranteeing you they're not selling you something, they're probably selling you something. But you know what? This is YouTube. People got to make some money. So let's just see what it is. Let me skip ahead through some of this gaff and get to the good bits. So let's see it, Joe.
They definitely do. I just want to tell you the truth about why they work. The truth about these diets is that they work not because you only eat one meal a day or because you're fasting 16 hours and you're burning all this fat during those 16 hours, but really they work simply because they help you adhere to a caloric deficit. Maybe
I love that movie, by the way.
Easier than eating throughout the day does, because the more times you eat throughout the day, the more opportunities you may have to overeat. Also, when you only eat one meal a day, it's very easy to fill up and feel full when you eat a ton of food, a day's worth of food at one meal. So
yeah, I actually completely agree with this. I try to tell people this when they ask me about OMAD. If you haven't checked out my channel, I've got videos about 30 days on OMAD, 60 days. I've been doing intermittent fasting for over a year now, and I lost some weight doing it. And a lot of people comment and ask me questions around things that they've been misinformed about. Does fasting unlock some tremendous benefits of managing your insulin levels? And look, I'm sure there's evidence to say that does. But for me personally, the main reason fasting works, like Joe just said, is because you force yourself to be in a caloric deficit. And anytime you can be in a sustained caloric deficit, for those that don't know, a caloric deficit is just you eat less calories than you burn every day. And you have to be in a sustained period of caloric deficit. This is what people get wrong. If you do it for a couple of days on MyFitnessPal, even a week, maybe 2 weeks, and you think you're in a deficit and you've tracked all your food and counted all your macros and you're still not losing weight, don't be disheartened. It's all about sustaining it for a long period of time. For me personally, doing one meal a day or sometimes 2 meals a day if I'm feeling relaxed helps me consistently eat less calories than I'm burning. And if you don't know, a calorie is just a unit of measure of the energy that you're expending. So it's a unit of measure of energy expanded, and then you can relate that to the energy consumed because you can rank the caloric content of food. So basically, if food's got high calories, it's going to take a lot of energy into your body, and then you're going to have to consume a lot more energy to burn those calories. Any excess energy, which is usually in the form of sugar, is going to be converted in your body to fat, and then you're going to store that as fat. And that's why you get overweight from eating too many calories. I just wanted to break that right down for anybody who's new to this. And influencers and fitness channels use a lot of big words, and people just assume that calories well understood, but perhaps it's not really. It's part of common language in the last sort of 20 years, but I think there's still a bit of misinformation out there. I certainly know when I talk to my relatives and other people, I just assume people know what a calorie is, but maybe they don't. So there you go. Let's see what else Joe's got to say.
So by giving yourself that restriction of only eating once a day, or in the case of intermittent fasting, only in that 8-hour window.
Let's speed him up a
you're
bit.
giving yourself
Come
a
on,
little
Joe.
bit less time to consume food. And the truth is that these dieting philosophies work not because of those hours that you don't eat and you're somehow burning all that fat. It's because OMAD and intermittent fasting make it a lot easier to adhere to a calorie deficit. That is the
100%. Number one reason OMAD works. This is the fact right here. You don't need to watch any further, just in case he starts selling you something. But seriously, it's just about sustaining a caloric deficit. The period you're fasting has no greater benefit to burning fat, in my opinion, than any other period of your day.
number one reason why OMAD works and why intermittent fasting works. And I know that this is a highly debated topic that I'm not really going to get into too much in this video, but if we're talking about weight loss, 95 to 99% of the reason why you're losing weight is because you're in a caloric deficit. Anyways, if not eating for 16, 18, or 20 hours a day does actually help you burn more fat, it's an insignificant amount compared to if you ate every few hours.
Yeah, 100%. Any additional fat that you're going to burn during fasting is insignificant if you're then going to reconsume those calories. But what I will say is that when you have lower levels of insulin in your bloodstream, you're less insulin sensitive, you're going to have less insulin spikes because you're eating less frequently. You hopefully can convince your body to be burning that fat through sort of ketosis. But I mean, that's getting way too technical. If you're not eating for 16 hours, then the calories you're burning net should be greater than the calories you've consumed, right? It's no brainer. You've just then got to watch the calories you consume in your eating window aren't going to be net higher than the calories you burned for the previous 16 to 24 hours. It's not rocket science.
With calories being accounted for. What weight loss really comes down to is adhering to that calorie deficit. And that's the reason for a lot of people that OMAD intermittent fasting works so well, is that it helps them adhere to that 500 calorie deficit a lot easier than somebody who's eating 4, 5, 6 times a day. Because for most of us, the more times we eat throughout the day, the more chances we have to overeat throughout the day. And that can be a huge factor for a lot of people in not adhering to their calorie deficit. So just eating.
I like what he said there, because it's a lot easier for some people to do calorie restriction when they're only eating once a day, like on OMAD, versus other people are able to sustain a caloric deficit even when eating multiple meals throughout the day. I get really frustrated when I watch YouTube videos, particularly of people in the fitness industry who are really buff, probably really active, they're probably trainers, they're probably working out hours a day, they've probably got very active lifestyles, they've probably got very good, metabolism, so they can sustain a really high caloric intake and keep a really nice physique. Often they have a really high muscle mass as well, and who knows, perhaps they've even got something else going on in terms of vitamin S and that sort of stuff. So basically, I think you need to be real about yourself. For me, I have very little self-control around the portions of my meals. So when I have breakfast and you look at a typical serving size of cereal, for example, it might be like a third of a cup is a typical serving size. And then you look at the calories of that and it's going to be like 200 calories. And then you're going to add another 150 calories of whole milk. I don't know about you, but if I ever sit down to eat a cup of cereal, or a third of a cup, 2/3 of a cup of cereal, forget about it, man. I'm going to be eating like 4 cups before I'm satisfied. And that's where it really gets hard for me to be disciplined and sustain a caloric deficit if I'm having regular meals throughout the day. So that's why I found personally intermittent fasting works. I can have the discipline to not eat, and then when I eat, I can eat a decent amount of food to feel full, and then have the discipline to not eat again for a prolonged period of time. Whereas other people have the discipline to eat regularly, but eat smaller portions, choose the right options in terms of low calorie density foods, and they can do that in a disciplined manner throughout the day. I can't. A lot of people can't, and that's why fasting and sometimes OMAD will work. You just need to figure out what works for you. There's still people I know, including myself at times, when you're on OMAD, you're not losing weight because you're still not maintaining a caloric deficit. You're having a massive meal and then you're allowing yourself to have a few snacks and maybe some dessert. You're still putting your calories way too high. So don't think it's a silver bullet, and make sure you're thinking about what works for you to maintain a caloric deficit and not works for everybody else.
Eating once a day or just giving yourself a window of time that you can eat can make that adherence a lot easier. With that being said, I enjoy fasting quite a bit. Today I actually fasted until about a half hour ago. It's like 1:30 right now. I didn't eat until 1. A lot of times my day starts off with a coffee, and then I'll have a couple of coffees until early afternoon, especially on training days if I'm not.
He ate at 1. What an amateur. We fasters, we go for 20 hours.
Training, I might go until 5 o'clock in the afternoon without eating. Enjoy it. If you enjoy it, then you should totally think about doing it. If you've never done it before, you should try it because it really may help you adhere to your calorie totals a lot better. For me, I'm not really hungry in the morning, so it just makes sense for me to delay eating until later in the day. Also, I find that I'm also more productive if I do delay my eating until later in the day because I don't have to cook anything, I don't have to worry about food, and also I just enjoy eating later at night more than I do during the day. So all of those factors are why I like to fast more days than not. So if you've never tried fasting before,
yeah, I would agree with a lot of what he said there. Like, I enjoy it from a lifestyle perspective because I don't have to think about having breakfast, I don't have to think about having lunch. I get at least an hour of my day back in the morning not preparing meals for the day, whether I'm preparing my lunch to take to work or preparing my breakfast to eat. And at same at lunchtime, I don't need to stop and have a 1 hour long lunch break. But you do for your sanity, particularly if you're working, sometimes you need that break time, and then it's a great opportunity to like go for a walk or increase your activity that way. Some people say like when they're fasting, they get really great benefits in terms of like mental clarity and rah. Like, that's all anecdotal. If that's what you experience, that's great. But I don't think you should necessarily expect those type of results. Personally, I haven't felt any more, a lightning bolt go off to say, oh, I'm so much more productive and I have so much more energy because I've been fasting and I have this mental clarity that's been unlocked. I think what I do have though is an improved self-confidence because I'm having success with OMAD. I also started my channel to document my experience, and that's been quite a positive thing for me in terms of it's almost like therapy, being able to document what you're thinking and share that with other people and have other people respond, which takes me to my next point. If you're not following the channel, I'd really appreciate it if you could sub. But more importantly, I'm really struggling to get views on my long form content at the moment. So if you're liking this content, check out some of my other videos. I'll link them at the end. But I do have a video where I did 60 days on OMAD and 30 days on OMAD, and I had some really fantastic results. Those videos have been very popular, so hopefully you can check them out. Anyway, we'll see what Joe has to say. I have sped him up because it was going too slow for me, so let's see.
I highly recommend it. If you've never tried OMAD before, maybe you should give it a shot. Just don't be oversold and overhyped about the benefits of what not eating during the day can do for you, because it all simply comes down to a calorie deficit and also your preferences, guys. Do you enjoy fasting? If you don't enjoy it, don't do it. At the end of the day, you should be doing these if they help you, if you enjoy doing them, and not because you have to do them. So I hope that helps clear some of OMAD and intermittent fasting up for you guys. Gotten a lot of questions on Instagram regarding the two, and I just want to give you guys my take from somebody who's been a single digit and has gotten to a single digit body fat percentage before, their perspective on these two dieting philosophies and really what they can do for you, not any overhyped, oversold BS.
Here he's getting towards the sell. So he's kind of soft selling you. I'm a coach, check out my Instagram, I've had success before. So although he's not being pushy and saying here's a link to a diet program or I want your email or whatever, he's kind of pushing it out there. Listen, everyone on YouTube's trying to sell you something.